Welcome back for another video. As the blank game week draws to a close, we've got a single game week 27 next, and then the double game week 28 to follow. In this one, we're going to dig into takeaways from the weekend's actions and transfer plans for the coming weeks. If you enjoy this type of content, make sure you subscribe in. So it was a good start to the game week if you had any Villa attackers, a 4-2 win over Forest at home. Watkins and Bailey with 1 goal 1 assist, and Douglas Luiz with a brace. Huge points if you had a double up there. Douglas Luiz, Bailey and Bowen were the 3 players that we picked out in last week's videos if you wanted to build a team towards game week 29 that hopefully saves the free hit. Only Haaland's got a higher expected goal involvement than Watkins this season with 17 XGI himself. Haaland's got 20.9. Bailey's 1.71 XGI was the highest of the weekend, and it was Watkins with the second highest. After 26 game weeks, Villa have only lost 2 home games all season. As far as the best front 3 in FPL right now, it looks like it might be Watkins, Solanke and Haaland as a trio to build towards, but Tony over Watkins could tide you over. Solanke and Haaland basically pick themselves right now, though even Haaland's been a bit disappointing in recent weeks. It's already by far Douglas Luiz's top scorer in season with 9 goals 4 assists, his previous best being 6 goals, and he'll undoubtedly end the season on double-digit goals. An interesting observation is the fact that all of 9 Douglas Luiz's goals have come at Villa Park. Not too late to pick up Villa assets, with their next 4 fixtures being Luton, Spurs, West Ham and Wolves. With 14 goals and 15 assists this season, no player's been involved in more Premier League goals than Watkins, 29 involvements in 26 games. Brighton drew 1-0 with Everton, a somewhat underwhelming match unless you had Dunk or Branthwaite. It was the 2 centre-backs with decisive involvement. Gross assisted Dunk's goal as well, so a 10-pointer for Dunk, 9 for Branthwaite. Everton have got West Ham home next before a difficult run of games against Man United, Liverpool, Bournemouth and Newcastle, so it's not a great time to get Branthwaite. Unless you need the funds for another transfer and you can bench him after game week 27. After some odd remarks by De Zerbi in his press conference about having a Stupinian over for dinner, it looks like he was in line for a start, but no he wasn't. Benched once again, and he came on at 60 minutes for a 1-pointer. He's got 3 points in his last 5 games, 0.6 points per game. Man United lost at Old Trafford to Fulham. It would be with a 97th minute winner, slotting a shot near post with Vanana flat-footed as it found the back of the net. Maguire scored, so a 6-pointer for the 4.2 mil defender, assisted by Bruno, who was booked as well, so just 4 points for him. Man United, unsurprisingly missing Højlund, who was on fire recently. He's going to miss the Manchester derby in game week 27 as well, which is a massive loss. He could be back for game week 29 against Sheffield United if that game's not postponed. We'll talk more about game week 29's blanks in a minute. Iwobi's 97th minute winning goal was the latest ever winning goal against Man United on record. Man City edged a 1-0 win away to Bournemouth. They racked up 1.53 expected goals collectively. Bournemouth registered 0.79 XG. Haaland was the most captain player of the game week, just an assist for him, so a 5-pointer. And it was Foden who got the winner and took all 3 bonus points. A 6th start in 20 days for him. He's been absolutely immense this season. The only City players that look worth touching right now are these 3, Foden, Haaland and Ederson. Man City have got a packed and difficult schedule, so no one's safe from rotation right now. Walker was benched, as was De Bruyne, who was on for the last few minutes, and he got booked for a 0-pointer. If you sold De Bruyne for someone like Saka, Bailey or Douglas Luiz, that was a very good call. 9-pointer for Ederson, that's 27 points for him over the last 3 game weeks. City have scored just 1 goal in each of their last 3 games, so they're not blowing teams away at the moment, hence Ederson's got 4 bonus points over that spell as well. Generally, he rarely gets bonus points because City tend to score multiple goals, so a variety of outfield players are often on for bonus. But right now, while they're grinding out these results, he's been a good pick. Though City do have a tough run of games ahead. City have actually won more away games in all competitions this season than they did in the entirety of last season's treble-winning campaign. After a loss at St James's Park earlier in the season, Arsenal responded with a 4-1 win over Newcastle at the Emirates. Havertz with 1 goal 1 assist for a 14-pointer. He's playing very well recently in the absence of Jesus. He got 1 goal 1 assist last week as well. And Saka was on the score sheet again. He's now scored 7 goals in his last 6 Premier League matches. The last English player to score in 5 consecutive games for Arsenal was Ian Wright in 1984. Arsenal are now the first team in Premier League history to score 2+ goals in 7 consecutive halves of football. Looking unstoppable at the moment, and they're up against Sheffield United next. Many of us have got an Arsenal defender or 2, so it was a frustrating consolation goal by of course former Arsenal player Willock, so a 2-pointer for the defenders, except Kiwior who scored their 4th goal, with Zinchenko still sidelined. Game week 27 captaincy is going to be very interesting. Let us know your early thoughts. Haaland in the Manchester derby, or perhaps Saka against Sheffield United, or perhaps someone else. Dubravka missed the Arsenal game with a reported illness, so Karius played in goal. Wolves closed the weekend's action just before the League Cup final with a 1-0 win over Sheffield United. The most transferred in player Hwang blanked. In fact, he didn't even take a shot all game. He pulled up with an injury in the warm-up, which was a stressful watch for his over 600,000 new owners. In the end, he was fine to start, but no returns. Nothing from Neto either, he was the popular alternative. And in classic FPL fashion, it was Sarabia, the least popular of the three Wolves mids, who netted for a 10-pointer. Ait-Nouri got the assist as well. He can be prone to an early sub, Ait-Nouri, but rarely before the 60th minute mark. He came off at 76 minutes for a locked-in clean sheet, assist and 3 bonus points. Wolves have won 11 games in 26 games this season, which is already as many as they managed all of last season. So it's finally the week where we know what happens in Gameweek 29. If you can hold your transfers, it's the sensible thing to do this week. There's 11 Premier League teams playing across Tuesday and Wednesday. The outcomes of those games dictate who blanks or who doesn't in Gameweek 29. Using the bookies odds, Ben Crellin's given the blank percentage likelihoods of all those teams involved. So it's going to be a shuffled upload schedule this week. The players to buy video is going to be out on Thursday instead, once we know exactly who blanks and who doesn't, so we can make informed transfers, and also decide on chip strategy. For example, if Leeds beat Chelsea, then that could be a turning point for a lot of chip strategies, as Arsenal and Chelsea wouldn't blank in Gameweek 29 in that scenario, which in many cases would be 3 or 4 players added to our teams for Gameweek 29. A quick note on the League Cup final then. Massive congrats to Liverpool fans. Really impressive result given the amount of injuries at the moment. From an FPL perspective, we know that Jota and Trent are out injured until after the March international break, but Salah and Darwin didn't make the squad for this one. So if you own either, or you're perhaps looking to bring Salah in, then keep an eye out for what Klopp says later in the week. If you've got Trent or Jota, then they're easy sells this week. So let's have a look at the team for Gameweek 27. The -8 actually paid off with a net gain of +6 points. This week it's Ederson in goal. It does feel like a fairly straightforward decision, given that United are missing Højlund and they're much better defensively than Newcastle, so Dubravka on the bench. Saliba, Gabriel and Pedro Porro in the back three. In midfield it's Richarlison, Foden, Saka and Gordon. And up top Solanke, Haaland and Watkins. Some decisions to make this week as far as the bench though, which is Dubravka, Hee-Chan, Van Dijk and Estupiñán. It could finally be the week that Estupiñán starts, but he's last on the bench, not taking the risk. It's basically Pedro Porro versus Van Dijk really, assuming Porro's fit to start. Palace were without Elise and Eze in their win over Burnley, and if they miss out again, that'll be good news as a Porro owner. Forest have scored in every game since Gameweek 17, and given Liverpool missing so many players, at the moment Van Dijk's the one on the bench. It's Haaland captain, Saka vice captain. The plan is to bench Hwang this week, and he'll be back in the 11 for Gameweek 28. So in terms of transfer plans, the benefit of the -8 in Gameweek 26 wasn't just to get 11 players out, but also to put myself in a position to roll before double Gameweek 28. So the plan is to roll this week and then make a decision on attacking Gameweek 28, or if there is a bunch of FA Cup upsets then I might swerve free hit in 29. Currently the intention is to attack the double in 28 and free hit 29 after. So in Gameweek 28 I'll sell Ederson for Neto and then Van Dijk for Senesi. That gives me triple Bournemouth with a home double Gameweek to Sheffield United and Luton. I might be tempted to sell Dubravka instead because Newcastle can't keep a clean sheet right now. Alternatively, instead of Senesi, I might add a Bournemouth midfielder, which would be Tavernier. He looks the best of the mids, but his numbers aren't inspiring. He's got 2 goals and 4 assists this season. That said, in the reverse fixture against Sheffield United in Gameweek 13, he did put up his biggest score of the season with a brace for a 16-pointer against Sheffield United. Senesi got booked on the weekend and he's now on 8 yellow cards. If he reaches 10, he'll be suspended for 2 games, so Sabani might be the better pick. Thanks for watching. If this was a helpful video, hit like to show support and make sure you subscribe for more FPL content to come this week. See you soon for the next one.